In Lesson 10, we're going to talk about the title tool. The title tool can be found by going up to Tools, Title Tool Application, or Clip, and New Title. Title tools can be used to create simple lower third graphics, full page graphics, or quick little bulleted items that you may want to appear on your screen. For example, we're going to create a lower third for this gentleman right here, John Smith. So I'm going to go up to Clip and I'm going to click on New Title. When you click on New Title, you're going to get three options: Marquee, Title Tool, or Titler Pro. Click on Title Tool. The first thing we're going to do is we're just going to review some of the buttons that you can use when creating your titles. This right here is your selection tool to select certain pieces of your graphics. This is your actual title, your text tool right here. This right here is video placement tool, your square or rectangle tool, circle tool, line tool, and then you have a bunch of other options which we will explore in just a few minutes. So I'm going to click on my text tool and I'm going to type his name. And position it where I would like it. So say I want John Smith to appear right there. So by going back and forth between the selection tool and the text tool, I can either adjust, say I want to give him a middle initial, John A. Smith. I'm going to go back to my edit tool. Now you can see how Smith all of a sudden appeared below the John A when I inserted the A. That's because my text box is too small to have all of the characters in it. I can fix that easily by expanding my text box and repositioning my John A. Smith wherever I would like it. You can see how John A. Smith is left justified. You can adjust that right down here. I can center justify it in the text box. I can right justify it in the text box, whatever you prefer. So I'm going to move this over to here. Right above the justification tools, you can see your font. Avid gives you a variety of different fonts to choose from. That's beautiful. We'll stick with actual letters. So I can change the font however I would like it. And I'm just going to go with that one just for right now. Right next to the font is the text size. So I can pick the size of the font that I would like. We'll just expand that real quick. So now I have John A. Smith in a bigger font, so that way it's easier to read. Going over to the right, this is how you can change your color. So I can pick whatever color from the color swatch here and change the color to whatever suits my needs. So I'm just going to go with a nice little dark yellow here. The next thing I'm going to do is I can actually put a drop shadow on the back of it. A drop shadow will allow the font to punch out and distinguish itself from the background. Right over here is where I can adjust my drop shadow. By clicking on this light gray box and pulling the drop shadow out from behind it, it allows me, you can see over his shirt, to position the drop shadow, and I can move that however I want. I can have it in any direction, and down here shows the depth. So I could actually type in the depth if I chose to. So now I have a nice drop shadow on my title. Now say I want to put in a nice box right behind the John A. Smith. I can do that a few ways. The most common way is to use the square or rectangle tool. I'm going to click on the square tool and I'm just going to get this little plus sign and I'm going to draw a square around the John A. Smith. You can see how it's the same color and it's actually on top of our font. So we're going to change this color of the box to more of a red, maybe a light red or light pink. And then I'm going to send this layer. So you actually have two layers. We have our John A. Smith title, and we have this box title. And I'm going to go up to Object. First, I'm going to click on my box, go up to Object, and I'm going to hit Send to Back. When I send it to the back, it reveals the John A. Smith. If you want to create a nice lower third, you're going to want to use the square tool, and then to make the font stand out from the background, put a drop shadow on it. So that makes for a nice looking lower third. We can also adjust this even more. I can click on the box if I choose to, and I can go here and make it opaque if I wanted to adjust that. Maybe get rid of the drop shadow on the box. I could do a color ramp over here if I chose to do a color ramp. So you can see how it starts solid and slowly ramps to transparent. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do to your graphics in the Avid Title tool. Another thing I can do is put an outline on my John A. Smith. So if I come down to the lower left-hand corner of my toolbox, this little dotted line right here, I can actually pick and put a nice solid outline around my font to make it punch out even more. And you can adjust the thickness of it to whatever suits your style. One last thing that I want to show you is how to make a full page graphic and center the title in the middle. So I'm going to get rid of the background. We're going to keep the John A. Smith, and to make a full page graphic, I'm going to turn my video off. Now I have nothing but a solid black background. This could be used for an opening graphic or end credits, or maybe just an informational title page in the middle of your video. If you notice, I have John A. Smith in the middle, and it's very difficult to kind of center it to make it perfectly in the center of this frame. Avid has made this procedure a little bit simpler for you by going up to alignment. I can actually put a grid on my title tool. You can see how I have a simple grid, and this allows you to position it according to wherever you may need it. I can also put it easily into the center of the frame by going up to Alignment, Center in Frame Horizontal, and then Alignment, Center in Frame Vertical. Now my title is positioned exactly in the center of the frame. So Alignment, Center in Frame Horizontally, Center in Frame Vertically. There's also some other options it gives you as well that you can play around with on your own. So I'm going to go back to my video, and I'm just going to make a quick little lower third, and then we're going to edit this into our timeline. So I have my John A. Smith. I'm going to go up to File, Save Title As. I'm going to give this a quick little label. And I'm going to save my title, and then close out of my title tool. You can see in your bin my title has been saved as John Smith, and it also loads it up into your source monitor, which is kind of nice. It automatically loads it up into your source monitor. To put your title into your timeline, if you want your title to appear on top of your interview, you're going to have to create a second track, and your title will have to be positioned on top of the video you want it to appear over. So I have my V1 aligned with V2. I set a mark in and mark out over John Smith. I'm going to set a mark in on my John Smith title, and I'm going to overwrite my title in, and now John Smith appears. The title appears over my person. So you can see when I play my title, it just kind of pops in, pops out. We'd like that to fade in and fade out. And a simple way to do that is to use the Fade Effect button. The Fade Effect button is an E with some little dissolves on the left-hand side of it. Click on the E, brings up this little window, and you can fill in how many frames you want it to fade up or fade down, or both. I'm going to do 12 up, and I'm going to do 12 down. I'm going to hit OK. Now my title should fade in and fade out easily. So, Lesson 10, the title tool, a simple way to make graphics, informative graphics, lower thirds, full page graphics. That is all for this lesson. Leon out.